Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be starting my three-part series. Well, it's not really a series. I wanted to talk more about my babies and my condition as to why I had my losses. So I'm gonna be telling the story of my first pregnancy with Adoree and then my second pregnancy with Kaysen. For the third part, I wanted to go more in depth as to what my condition is. So that's what I'm gonna be talking about today. Hopefully I'm in focus and I don't have to re-record this video again. Yeah. So if you watched my reintroduction video, then you know that I have lost 2 children in the past 6 months. The reason that I lost them was because I have something called an incompetent cervix or an insufficient cervix, and basically in like common words, that's just a weak cervix. So I have a little list of things that I'm going to go over as like what's pertaining to an incompetent cervix and why you have it and what it is and everything. So what is it? So what an incompetent cervix is, it's basically when your cervix starts to open too early. So I probably should have drawn something out, but basically you have like your womb and then you have like your cervix like at the bottom, and so your cervix is supposed to be like kind of long, kind of like a tube. So it's supposed to stay closed the whole pregnancy up until like your full term, 37 to 40 weeks, I believe, or 41 weeks. Sorry, I thought someone was walking in. Does it hurt? For me, I didn't feel it when I didn't physically feel my cervix shortening or opening or anything. What I did feel, which I will explain in my other video, is with Kaysen, I felt a few days before it happened, I started feeling like a little dropping feeling when I would pee, and I don't think that was my cervix. It was like, I think it was the sac like pushing out and then coming back in when I would push. So I didn't feel my cervix actually shortening or anything, but I did feel, I guess, when it got really short and I could like feel his bag dropping a little bit. Does age matter? Based off of my research, again, age does not matter, and based off of my situation, I was 20 years old when I had my first loss, and I'm 21 now and I've had another loss. So obviously based off of my experience, it doesn't really matter how old you are, honestly, because I thought that I was in the clear being as young as I am from like anything happening with my pregnancies, especially the first time around, but obviously I wasn't. So I don't think it really matters whether you're 20 or 40 to have an incompetent cervix. Signs. For me, I did have signs. With my first pregnancy, I had bleeding basically the whole pregnancy. I mean, it only lasted 12 weeks and 5 days. But I basically had bleeding on and off that whole time. And second time around, I didn't have any issues the entire pregnancy up until like a few days before I gave birth. I just had that dropping feeling when I would pee. And my discharge was starting to change. I believe that my mucus plug fell out a week before, and I'll get into that in my other videos. But I believe a bit of my mucus plug had fallen out, and my discharge started to change a little bit, and then the dropping feeling I just mentioned. But yeah, there wasn't anything else for me personally. Oh, and another thing that I had was pelvic pressure. I'm looking at the symptoms right now. It says a sensation of pelvic pressure, a backache, abdominal cramps, change in vaginal discharge, volume, color, or consistency, light vaginal bleeding / spotting, oh my gosh, Braxton Hicks contractions. So now that I'm looking at this list, I did have pelvic pressure and I didn't get a backache until the labor started. So I didn't have backache before or anything, and I didn't have any bleeding. I did have a change in discharge, and I didn't have Braxton Hicks like contractions. I had round ligament pain at around 14 or 15 weeks, but that's just round ligament pain. So now that I've gone through all of that, I want to kind of go over what a possible cure or treatment is for incompetent cervix. So the only one that I really found is, it's not really anything you can do by like changing your diet or anything. You can't really help what's going on as far as that goes, because like you just can't do anything about it. But there is something called a cervical cerclage, and what that does is, since your cervix is like a tube like that, and it's basically, hopefully I'm like focused, and it's basically like opening like that. So like your cervix should be like closed. Oh my god, I'm so horrible. But your cervix should be closed, and basically the cerclage, it basically wraps your cervix shut so that it can't open, or that's the idea behind it. But there are different types of cerclages. So there are two different categories for cerclages. There is the transvaginal and there is the transabdominal. So for the transvaginal, I'm going to go over those first. There's the Macdonald, the Cervical, and the TVCIC, and all of those are placed, I believe, during pregnancy. I think the earliest you can get it is like, I want to say 12 weeks. Now, I haven't had any of these cerclages yet, but I believe that the earliest you can get it is 12 weeks, and there is like either emergency or like scheduled. So it's a preventative, and obviously the preventative one you place because you know there's already an issue, and you place it before anything else goes wrong. And then with the emergency, it's like you've already seen the signs and you are trying to just hurry up and get it worked out. So the first one I want to talk about is the Macdonald cerclage, and that one's placed the lowest on the cervix. And so with that one, it's going to be like a purse string tie. So I believe that it's woven in and out of the cervix so that it can't open. The Cervical is the second type, and it's placed a little bit higher than the Macdonald. I mean, in my head, I would think that they try to place it as high up as possible, but different doctors specialize in different techniques of it. So yeah, that one, to my understanding, is just a little bit higher than the Macdonald. So with the TVCIC, it closes the cervix about half of a centimeter below the internal os, and basically that's the opening from the uterus to the cervix, and then the external os is the opening, is the bottom of the cervix to your vagina. So that one of the three is less likely to require bed rest, but all of them require pelvic rest, so no sex during pregnancy. The last one is the TAC, which is the transabdominal cerclage. This is the one that I'm most interested in getting for myself personally. So the TAC is placed before the pregnancy, so you would schedule your appointment with the doctor or the surgeon, and basically they cut you open like a C-section. I don't think that they cut you open like as much, but they definitely cut you where they would cut a C-section. And they open you up and they tie the, I think they can either do a wire or like this shoelace looking thing. I'm not really sure what the material is, but they tie it at the very top of your cervix, so basically like there's no way of the baby even like going into the cervix. So with this one, you would have to get a C-section for the birth, and from all of my research, the TAC has had the highest success rate. I've even seen websites where it said that it is up to 99% effective. And for me, I'm going to take the highest success rate because I just cannot take the chance of losing any more babies, because it's a very painful process. So with this one, since it is placed before your pregnancy, there is no risk to the baby, or very extremely low risk if everything is good after you have the surgery. Because the baby's not there, there's no risk to them, and there's no pelvic rest required from everything I've looked at. But personally, for me, I would just stray away from fornication. Personally, after we finally get the baby in there, I probably wouldn't have sex anymore, just because I'm very paranoid and I don't want anything to go wrong. And I mean, I think I'll be okay with not having sex for a while if it's to prevent anything wrong from happening with my baby. It does have the highest success rate as opposed to the transvaginal cerclages. In fact, a lot of doctors won't even recommend or do the transabdominal cerclage unless you've had a failed transvaginal cerclage. So that just goes to show that the vaginal cerclages can fail, and they don't have as high as a success rate as the transabdominal. I've heard that it's not any more difficult to get pregnant after you have one placed, so that's an added bonus. So personally, I have never had any of the cerclages. I don't want to say only had 2 losses, because 1 loss is a lot, but with my first pregnancy they didn't diagnose it because I was just getting into the 2nd trimester. And then with Kaysen, they finally diagnosed it, but since I haven't tried the vaginal cerclage, I'm not sure if they will, I know I'm going to have to fight them on the transabdominal cerclage, but that is the one that I would rather get because it has the highest success rate and there's no risk to my pregnancy if I'm getting it beforehand. Now, I don't know if I already mentioned, but you can get the abdominal cerclage during pregnancy. I think they just have to be a little more careful, and I think it is a little more risky, so I would like to not be pregnant while I get that. Hopefully I'm not pregnant right now. I have been feeling really nauseous lately, and I'm really scared because I just don't want to be pregnant right now. I want to get this surgery out the way, but it could just be my hormones balancing out. Okay, hopefully my hair doesn't look crazy, but that's kind of all I have on incompetent cervix. I've been doing a lot of research so that I can show the doctors I know what I'm talking about once I have my next appointment. So I had Kaysen on January 22nd. Today is February 15th, and I have an appointment in March kind of to talk about where to go from here, because I mean I don't want to wait. I don't feel any need for me to wait to get pregnant again or take any time, because it's like the time that you basically are encouraged not to get pregnant, that's enough time for me to wait on getting pregnant again, if that makes sense. I'm not the type of person where I have to be emotionally ready to have a baby, if that makes sense, because it kind of when I got pregnant with Adoree when I got pregnant with Kaysen 3 months after Adoree, I was still very broken over Adoree, but it's being pregnant again helped me heal, and it actually helped me a lot. So my next step for me is to get pregnant again and just have a successful pregnancy, and then once I have my baby here, then I will take a break, and that's kind of how I want to play it. So that's just me personally. People will say take as much time as you need, or just take a break, or just don't put any stress on yourself. But for me, I just want to get the ball rolling. I want to get this appointment. I want to get my surgery done. I want to be okay to get pregnant again. I know it's I know it might seem like I'm rushing. I know it might seem like I'm rushing into things, but that's just me. That's just how I kind of want to go about it, because I don't see the point in wasting time, honestly. But as far as having an incompetent cervix, I didn't really have any indicators before I was pregnant. I never thought that I would go through something like this. I never envisioned this happening to me. I actually I don't know, I just never thought that something like this I never knew this was a thing. I had heard of miscarriages, but I never heard, I just thought it was when the baby just would pass away inside of you, if that makes sense. So yeah, it completely took me by shock when I found out I had an incompetent cervix. But now that I know, I can do something about it, which is good. I honestly think that they should treat every pregnancy as if it were a high-risk pregnancy, even from the start. I feel like there are things that aren't very invasive or aren't going to harm the baby, regardless of if you have an issue or not, that can be tested for. That way that we're not losing 1 or 2 or 3 babies or however many babies before things are diagnosed, and then it's like by that point it's like basically what I felt like was that the doctors were telling me like, we'll just wait and see how this goes while I was pregnant and while I was having issues. And what I was trying to prevent with Kaysen specifically, because I kind of had more knowledge, was I was trying to prevent them from being like, from something going wrong and me having told them something went wrong, and then all they have to say is, I'm so sorry. When I'm sorry, the words I'm sorry aren't gonna bring my baby back. What's gonna help my baby is if you're looking at the things that I'm asking you to look at. So I feel like the obstetric and gynecology units at hospitals everywhere should be changed, and I feel like doctors should do more research than they do. And yeah, I just feel like we should take even the first pregnancy seriously and treat it as if something can go wrong at any moment, and not just base every pregnancy off of normal pregnancy statistics. And we should also trust moms that think something's wrong with their body or their baby, because I didn't realize that I knew my body as well as I did until I had 2 babies. And there were times where I would just think, oh, maybe it's just because of the pregnancy, or maybe it's just normal, and it wasn't normal. And there were times where I knew something was wrong. In my heart, I knew something was wrong, and the doctors told me it was normal. And then a few days later, I lost my baby. So definitely, I think we should trust pregnant women more and trust what they're saying, and look into what they're asking for when they're asking you to look for something specific. So yeah, I hope this video helped in some way, helped at least one person, or just gave more information on the condition of incompetent cervix. Thank you for watching my video, and thank you for coming to my channel. And don't forget to follow me on my social media, Courtney_Alicia, and subscribe to my channel and like this video if you liked it. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.